Spoiler alert! I won't spoil the second half of the season, but I will show clips of important events from the first half. If you want to go into this season blind, I recommend not to watch this review. For years and years, fans of Samurai Jack could only hope for an ending to the beloved series. But to many people's surprise, the continuation of the story is here now, in all its glory. Before I dive into my thoughts on the new season, I think it's important to know my opinion of the first 4 seasons. As a kid, Samurai Jack made a huge impact on me. Its artistic visuals, how it could often have an episode with mostly visual storytelling and a minimum of dialogue, its artistic visuals, and how each episode was so different than the other. You can have a humorous adventure in the Wild West, only to be thrilled by a horror monster the next episode. The one episode can have an emotional story, the next one an epic battle. I rewatched the show not too long ago and made a video about my top 10 favorite episodes, and while I was still very impressed by it, I was mostly invested in the serious stories rather than the silly ones, so it wasn't as good as I remembered it to be. Will I watch the entirety of the show again today? No, but I would gladly rewatch all the good episodes that made an impact. My thoughts on the new season in a nutshell. I was mind blown by it. And I mean, every single aspect that didn't appeal to me anymore about the older episodes has been removed, the aspects I liked are improved due to the darker, more adult tone of the series, and the visuals are more gorgeous than ever. Season 5 takes place years and years after the last episode of Season 4. Jack has become a broken mess because of all his failed attempts at fighting a time portal. All the remaining time portals have been destroyed, and above all, he lost his sword, the only thing that can defeat Aku. This entire situation creates this hopeless, depressing mood. It truly feels like Jack is in a dark pit with no way out. But this is what's so good about the story. You feel as clueless about what step to make next as he is, hoping with every new event or character he stumbles into, he'll find a way out. There's a remarkable change in the storytelling of Season 5 compared to the other seasons. It's all one big, continuing story. In the old seasons, each episode told one story with a beginning and ending. This time around, the episodes end on cliffhangers and the next episode starts where the previous left off. This change greatly works in the show's favor, because now each action has consequences, making mistakes feel more intense and giving the feeling there's more at stake this time around. Season 5 aired on Adult Swim, which gave the show the opportunity to get more mature, which is a smart move given its audience has gotten older too. What's also clever about this more adult tone is that it knows when to be dark and when not to be. It could have easily transformed itself into a gore-fest sword-fighting show, as a desperate attempt to appeal to an older audience, but it only uses blood if it fits within an important event in the story. The dark events always have a big build-up and they have a big wrap-up. This gives the audience, alongside the main characters, time to let the dark events sink in. For example, earlier in the show, Jack is being attacked by a group of ninjas. Thinking they're robots, he slashes one of them with a sword, but then this happens. The fact that he took a human life shocked him so much that the entire next episode is all about him coming to terms with what he's done. This is how to use blood in a dramatic way that gives depth to the character involved in the battle. In terms of comedy, there are more comedic moments in the later episodes, but if you watch Samurai Jack for the laughs, I think you'll be disappointed. While there definitely are some hilarious moments, the focus is more on telling a serious story. Personally, I didn't mind, and I think later on there were enough comedic moments to balance out the depressing tone of the first couple of episodes. Most comedy comes from Aku, but good lord, the Scotsman also makes a return, and I couldn't stop laughing at how absurdly fitting it is for his character.
Flora! What in bonny places are you wearing? I'd take you out for a day of battle, and you dress like you're going dancing. Cover yourself! You've got your deathly cold!
Dad!
That goes for all of you!
Dad!
The animation is phenomenal. I haven't seen any show like this. There are a ton of shots in the show I could see as a painting in a museum. The character designs are simplistic, yet very original and unique. The backgrounds have an artistic use of colors, shapes, and it's creative in how the backgrounds blend with the characters. Early in the season, there's a fight in the snow, and the snow makes almost the entirety of the screen white, which doesn't sound like a pleasant visual. But look at all the creative things they visually do with this concept. It's this eye for detail, this artistic touch added to each episode that makes this one of the most immersive shows I've seen in a while. But let's address the elephant in the room. Mako, who voiced Aku, tragically passed away. He was a great actor who captured the hearts of many, and there was no way anyone could ever redo what he did. The creators knew this, and I'm pretty sure Greg Baldwin, who is the new voice for Aku, knew this too. But for the tools they had, I think Greg Baldwin did a great job at imitating Mako's voice.
For you see, little samurai, the world is mine.
Be careful, samurai. So much stress will give you a heart attack. Ooh, what am I saying? Please continue. Never mind what I said.
The only aspect I didn't really like was the payoff from a robot you kept following. There was one comedic robot character that kept showing up. While he was entertaining whenever he was on screen, it felt like he was going to be a big character only to not do anything after all the build-up. Even the fight he has with Jack in episode 1 is disappointingly short. It was the only thing that made me doubt whether to give the show a 10 or not. That is, until the final episode. In all honesty, the note the show ends on just made me feel dissatisfied. I know a show is about the journey, not the destination, but I couldn't help but wonder, is that it? Was that all they needed to tell in order to wrap up the story? From this point on, I will dive into spoilers about the ending. If you don't want to know the ending, here's the place to stop. Remember the ninjas I spoke about? They're the daughters of Aku. Jack starts to bond with one of them, named Ashi, only to fall in love with her. Jack and Ashi decide to fight Aku together, resulting in a big war where all the characters Jack helped return for one last stand. It's a nice fight that plays out exactly how you would expect it to. But when the fight was about to come to its conclusion, I noticed the episode only had around 3 minutes to wrap up the story. So what does it do? The entire aftermath of the fight flies by. Jack goes back through time. Right after that, he marries Ashi, only to lose Ashi because she isn't supposed to exist in that timeline, only to end with a scene where he rests at a tree. None of these moments really have an emotional impact because it flies by so fast. I'm most disappointed there's no scene of Jack reuniting with his parents. You would say that after so many years they would be more of an emotional reunion, rather than this quick, hey, I'm back, now I want to marry this girl. I would have liked it a lot more if they added an additional 10 minutes for the wrap-up. But everything that happened before that I still think is solid entertainment. For its gorgeous visuals, immersive story and memorable characters, Season 5 is a much welcome return of the nostalgic hero that didn't disappoint. The only real burden is the rushed ending and maybe the anticlimactic story of the robot. But aside from that, I couldn't think of a single downside of this masterly crafted piece of animation. I highly recommend it for anyone nostalgic for the show, and it gets a well-deserved 9 out of 10.